Hey guys, welcome back to another travel journal with me. Today we will be journaling my trip to Greece, summer 2020, with my good friend Erin. Erin is also a California girl like me, who was an au pair in Paris where we met last year. So I arrived in Athens on July 23rd, 2020. So I was by myself for a few hours because Erin actually planned to come in later in the day and I had flown in the morning. So I had the first few hours to kind of just walk around and get a feel for the city and the area that we were staying in.
You're cute. You can be on my YouTube. Hey girl.
Then finally Erin arrived and we decided to check out Acropolis. Of course I had to wait for her to get there before I was allowed to see any of the sights. So she arrived and we climbed up to the top of Acropolis where we saw the Parthenon, and it was such an amazing sight. It was empty because this was in July, so it was right when things were kind of starting to reopen for the first time, but only to people in the EU, not to people outside the EU, so there were not that many tourists at this time, which was really good for us. We were able to get such good photos with no people, and it was sunset, so the lighting was perfect. There's also this huge ancient theater up there that we saw at the top of Acropolis, which looks kind of like a mini version of the Roman Colosseum in a way. The view from the top was amazing. You could see all of Athens. After we got all the pictures we wanted and soaked up all of the beauty of the city, we made the hike back down, where we stopped for a bit to take a look at Hadrian's library, which was really cool, and you could see the top of Acropolis from there as well. It was so nice to just walk around Athens and see all the beauty and history that still lives in its buildings. There's so much culture and street art and so many cool things around the city. Then we finished our sightseeing for the day and we found a cute little neighborhood called Plaka, where they had tons of outdoor bars and restaurants. And we sat down to have a drink and cheers to our first night in Greece. Then we actually ended up meeting two guys there from Finland who were also traveling, and they were super cool and super nice. So they joined us for some drinks and we all exchanged travel stories and just talked, hung out a bit, and had a good time. We stayed in the Plaka neighborhood for a while and then we headed back towards our hotel, where we found the cutest rooftop bar with the perfect nighttime view of the top of Acropolis. So of course we had to stop there to have a few drinks and be cliche tourists for a sec and take some photos because the views were just way too good to pass up. So the next day was a bit more of a chill day. Since we had seen most of the popular sites in Athens the day before, this day was kind of just a day to relax by the beach, enjoy some happy hour cocktails, watch the sunset, and just not have to really do much. As much as I love to have a packed itinerary of things to do when I travel, I also live for these moments where I can just sit back, relax, take in the sights, and just live in the moment. So after an amazing 4 days in Athens, we decided it was time to move onward and see what the rest of this beautiful country had to offer us. Now there were so many beautiful Greek islands to choose from, and it was so hard to make a decision when we were planning this trip, but we decided to go with one of the most popular islands that I know many people have heard of and probably have been to. So we arrived in Santorini and instantly it was like something out of a postcard. The buildings were these muted pastel colors or bright white with the iconic blue tops. And funny enough, one of the guys that we hung out with during our time in Athens ended up meeting up with us in Santorini, which was funny. It was such a good time. We rented an ATV, which I was absolutely terrified to drive, so I refused, and I made him drive us all around the island while I took care of the important stuff like reading him directions and of course taking selfies. It ended up being super useful to have an ATV because it's honestly kind of the only way to get around the island. Although Santorini isn't insanely big, it still took us about 45 minutes to get from one side of the island to the other with the ATV, and there's no metro or transportation system there, so you're better off just renting an ATV or a motorcycle if you're feeling a little bit braver than we were. So we were told that the best sunsets in Santorini were on the opposite side of the island in Ia, so we made our way over there and were racing to try to get there in time before the sun went down. But luckily we made it just in time and we found this gorgeous seaside resort where we sat by the pool with some drinks and just enjoyed the breathtaking views. It was honestly so amazing, so beautiful. This country is surrounded by so much beauty and so much history. The people are so friendly and so welcoming. And of course, the food. Now, this would not be a Tiana signature trip if I didn't talk about food at least once during this video. I ate so much food on this trip, but it was honestly so delicious and so fresh and such good quality that I never once felt heavy or sick, kind of like you feel sometimes after eating really heavy, really greasy food or like really bad food. This food was such good quality that I never felt that way. I always felt so good after eating. I ate so many gyros, chicken and lamb souvlaki, Greek salad, hummus, you name it. And they even had this grilled feta cheese dish, which was absolutely to die for. I still think about it every day. So over the next few days, Erin and I spent time exploring the island and visiting open air markets and shops. And we decided to hit up this rocky beach for the day to kind of just relax and unwind for a bit, as our time in Greece unfortunately was quickly coming to an end. After our little chill day at the beach, we went back to the hotel to shower and get dressed up to go have a cute little girls' night dinner at a nice restaurant up in the hills of Santorini as kind of our one last hurrah before we had to head back home to Paris. And here's us struggling to walk up these steep ass cobblestone walkways in heels and praying that one of us wouldn't fall and break an ankle. Luckily, that didn't happen. We were completely fine. We hopped in a taxi and headed back over to Ia to take in the views once more of the world famous Santorini skyline and of course take a few pictures. After our pictures, we found a cute little restaurant with a perfect view of the skyline, and we watched the sunset over the sea and enjoyed our final dinner in Greece. The next morning, I woke up, headed off to the airport, dropped some postcards off at the mailbox to send back home to my family, and then took off back to Paris after an unforgettable 8-day trip in Greece. So that is it for my travel journal with me Greece edition. This was such an amazing trip. I know I say that about every trip, but it's so true. I just absolutely love having the opportunity to visit these new places and learn about new cultures, try to learn a little bit of the language and try all the foods. It's just great. Such an amazing opportunity. I truly wish anyone who has this opportunity takes advantage of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.